Okay, so what we're going to do is a little seat bones lesson. And we're going to begin first of all just with the tension and some kind of common rider, I wouldn't say faults, but where places where people traditionally carry tension which inhibits the connection with the horse and causes some issues in the way the horse moves. And then I'm going to talk you through all of the steps to help soften it and bring it down, okay? Okay, so the first thing that a lot of people have is the tension in the hips. So I want you to feel like your whole pelvis is going forwards and back in the saddle as one each time. So you've got it's a bit of the saddle polishers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And what tends to happen, that's it, can you feel that? How it's kind of like pushing forwards and back? Alphine's like, I'm not so sure about this. And then what often happens with that as well is that you get a brace in the back. So if you can just tighten your lower back for us, that's it. And you should feel there that her movement becomes a bit sticky and stilted, because basically, yeah, she's like, I don't like that at all. Good girl, you can reward her for listening and trying. Yeah, her response is exactly what happens, because when we tighten up in the pelvis and the lower back and brace against the movement, we're basically telling them to stop moving. We're inhibiting the movement coming up through their back. So what they either do one of two things, and I know she used to do the other, which is rush. Yeah. So with the tension, they either speed up, lose their balance, hollow, lift the head and rush forwards, or they get really sticky and refuse to move. Some other common things that people do is go behind the movement, so they tend to lean too far back. That's it. And what happens, very nicely demonstrated there. And she's like, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, what happens there is you tend to get really left behind. So again, that causes a hollowing and a bracing in the back as the spine's arched. And also if the horse, when they move forwards and they give you that movement, or especially if they go forwards into an upwards transition or an unexpected forwards movement, is you feel that lurch as you get left behind a little bit. And let's think, what's some other ones? Really tight shoulders and really locked arms. Yeah, exactly. And what that does is when people, this is especially, you can do with people who are anxious, they get this tension in the shoulders and the bracing through the hands, and you can't really feel the horse's mouth and head or nose, whatever you've got on it. Good girl, Alphine. Yeah, through that, because you just lock everything up. So other things that you see with this are things like especially the tension in the hips. So if you tighten your buttocks and like squeeze your legs up almost, is that what often happens is that people end up gripping with their knees, tipping forwards. Can you feel it in there?
As soon as I squeeze my bum, my knees are clumping.
They clump in, yeah. And that often pulls people forwards into like this kind of like almost fetal position. And the heels come up, people lose the stirrups, that kind of thing.
Heels lifted. My left one's sort of
not doing too badly. Yeah.
That's an asymmetry in me, isn't it?
Good girl. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll talk you through then how I go step by step through releasing all of these to really get the nice connection and freedom through the rider's seat, so that your internal aids, which is your weight aids, your breath, your balance, how you're allowing the movement up through your body, are working in harmony with your external aids, which are your reins, voice and legs, so that you're not giving any conflicting cues. Like, for example, at the beginning you saw when you tensed up your pelvis and back, Alphine was suddenly so reluctant to go forwards that if you then, no matter how much you train her and reward her for going forwards, it's going to be working in conflict to what's happening inside. So the first thing we're going to look at is, I know you're going to get some nice stuff now, Alphine. Thank you for being such a super demonstration horse. Is looking at your breath. So again, what happens, especially if we're uptight or anxious about the riding, is the breath comes up into the chest, high up, and we want to really try and sink it into the belly. So just taking some deep breaths in. I like to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth, but you can find what's comfortable for you, and I'll see if you can get this deeper. If you've done any kind of yoga or Tai Chi, Pilates or anything, you'll be able to feel this. Now you should feel as you breathe that your belly expands. So
It's so good to actually be aware of my breath when riding, because as soon as you mentioned breath, I realised that I was actually just breathing out of my mouth, just like not even taking the breath in through my nose.
Yeah. And was it quite
Really
shallow and quick?
Yeah. But it's good to actually breathe deeper and it gives you more body awareness, I think.
Yeah, already it connects you to your body, you're exactly right. And we often like disconnect, especially when we're thinking of all the 101 things to do with the horse. And Alphine's being marvellous now, but back when you first got her and she had all those problems, like you were dealing with so much going on that it's really difficult to think of everything, and coming back to the breath is a perfect way to do it. And they respond so well on the ground and in the saddle. And you can even begin just as you take deep breaths, if your horse softens, tunes in and relaxes, you can reward them for it. Already her walk's softened, like released a little bit, lengthened out. As you breathe, you can count the rhythm of her stride. So you could breathe in for say 1, 2, 3, 4, and out for 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. You can breathe out on the out breath. And if you're especially working, well actually with any horse, it's quite nice to think of this connection as like breathing in almost into their lungs, so like down through your seat, like your whole, really connecting through your seat, through your legs, through your body, like really feeling your horse. Lovely. You can reward her, I was just about to say. She picked up the thought. Very nice. Okay, the next bit we're going to look at is seat bones. So what we want to do with the seat bones is that they will rise and fall with the movement of the horse. As the hind leg pushes off, your seat bone gets lifted, and as the hind leg steps under, your seat bone drops. And this works with the roll of the barrel, so you feel like your seat's being tipped from side to side. There we go. So what we're going to do on this side is really focus on the rise and fall of this left seat bone. So if you're watching on the camera, look at that point where the seam on the jodhpurs meets Sophie's blue top, and that's kind of like her almost where her hip joint is. And what you want to see is that rising and falling. So Sophie, you're going to feel about allowing your leg to hang heavy, your buttock to relax, the hair's released a load of tension in that leg, and just feeling it rise and fall. So just focusing on this side, you want to feel it drop and rise. Let's see if we can just find this rhythm again. Down, up, down, up. Good girl. I know this is not the most interesting lesson, Alphine. We'll get to that in a second. Good. And again, so it's interesting because what happens is you find it and then you almost get too conscious of it, and you try and control it and then you lose the rhythm of it. So it's this really interesting balance of being aware of it but also allowing it to happen.
Without, like you say, trying to control it.
Yes. There, good. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up. Yes, look how it's...
You can feel it swinging so much more.
Yeah, it's really... she gave you a really nice big walk on that bit when you started to release that. Yes, good. Reward that, was lovely.
Yeah.
So you can also see if you're watching this, the seam... I hope you enjoyed that video. The rest of the session is available in the CT Club, which is our online membership site. We've also got loads of home study courses there, which are full of hundreds of videos to help train your horse. This is our Riding with Connection course, which really looks at how to build that relationship and communication in the saddle with your horse, from the mounting block to looking at your position like you've just seen, helping your horse to move in a way that's healthy and sound and comfortable, and building up to teaching engagement, lateral exercises, pole work, and all those kind of things right from the very beginning. So perfect even if you're a novice rider or you've not trained these things before. They're very progressive. It builds directly from our gymnastic groundwork course as well. We've also got this course, which is starting your horse under saddle, which might not feel like it's for you, but this is where we recommend people start to make sure they've got a really strong base. And this is actually where Alphine started, who you've just seen in the video. So she came to her owner Sophie with a huge amount of tension about being ridden, and we basically re-backed her to make sure that she could come and line up at the mounting block, walk, halt, turn really calmly, really happily, nice and connected to her owner. And we recommend that a lot of people go back and start there First of all, with horses who've never been ridden before, but also with older horses who might have that tension too. And again, this is really step by step and progressive, I promise. It's very gentle, very fun, completely no drama, so you can do it yourself even if you've never done it before. If you're interested in finding out more, head on over to connectiontraining.com. You can find out more about who we are and what we do, and you can also find out there about joining the CT Club, and we'd love to see you there.